I want to go to Canberra now. The Shadow Energy and Emissions Reduction Minister, Tehan, joins us. Now, you've had a quiet couple of days, given what last week before was like, Dan, so good to have you back. I wanted to ask you about Kelly Sloan, because like her predecessors, she wants to maintain net zero for New South Wales. So how does that work if the New South Wales Libs are supporting it, but you're not?
Well, look, obviously the New South Wales State Parliamentary Party sets their policies. We set ours federally in Canberra, and you know, this is not something that's unusual, Laura. We've seen it with regards to many policy issues, including this one, going back a few years. So we'll respect them, but we'll also ask that they respect our decision, because we want to put energy affordability first as the priority, because what we're seeing under Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese is electricity prices and gas prices go through the roof. And we've got a plan that we're out selling last week, which basically demonstrates that we have to get back to putting energy affordability first. And that's what we'll be focusing on this week again.
OK, so the Liberals and the Nationals decide to drop net zero. There's a lot of coverage about it. And again, you slump in the polls. That's not exactly encouraging, is it?
Well, we've obviously got to get out now and sell our plan about putting energy affordability first. And that's what we were doing all of last week. It's what we'll continue to do this week and in the months and years up until the next election, because I can tell you, being out on the ground last week on the outskirts of Melbourne, on the outskirts of Sydney, on the outskirts of Brisbane and then into Taree, every single business we spoke to said that energy affordability is now their number one concern. And, you know, there was a business that we visited in Taree which has seen their electricity bill nearly double under the Albanese Labor government. And they said quite clearly, if that continues, we're not going to have anything made in Australia. And they've actually brought manufacturing from overseas back to Australia. So we've got to get back to focusing on energy affordability, and that's going to be our key focus going forward.
Yeah, energy affordability, and people forget that we are still in the middle of a cost of living crisis, absolutely. But Dan, when it comes down to it, might it just be the case that even if you do win the next election, which is looking like it's going to be a pretty tough task at this point, a lot of those transmission lines would be rolled out, a lot more renewables will come online. So what are you going to do? Are you going to rip up those transmission lines? Are you going to slow down renewables project, or are you going to leave it to the market?
Well, we're going to put energy affordability as the number one priority when it comes to the national electricity market, and we've made that clear. We'll take away the focus on emissions and we'll put back the focus on affordability. And what we're seeing and hearing from the energy generators and the energy retailers is that they want to see that type of focus as well. You will have seen last week they were out saying that this is, in their view, the calm before the storm, and we're going to see energy affordability and also our international competitiveness continue to get hurt. And you had another one of the retailers out saying they think that energy prices under the current government approach, they're going to keep rising for the next decade.
Yeah, that's right.
So energy affordability is just so important.
I mean, it's so hard to reverse as well. A lot of people will be sitting here saying, you had 10 years to do something about it. The trajectory was there. I do accept that they have gone up under this Labor government as well. But, I mean, you would have seen this headline in the AFR this morning when it talks to the fundamentals. And, you know, you have Barnaby Joyce and the Nationals talking about extending coal-fired power plants, your Lawn being one of them, Eraring, Loy Yang A. They're all due to be shut down in 27, 28. Even if they can be extended, you know, what you won't be able to replace it with nuclear. So what do you fill that gap with? What is the plan? Because that is key to affordability, isn't it?
Well, gas has to be absolutely the priority, and stepping on the gas has to be the focus. Obviously, state governments, Labor state governments in Victoria and New South Wales and the LNP in Queensland are looking to sweat existing coal assets because they know that that's going to be important. But we've got to step on the gas, and this is where we've got this great contrast now within the government, where you've got Chris Bowen over in Brazil saying we have to phase out fossil fuels, and you've got the Prime Minister saying no, gas is absolutely central. So, you know, my hope is that the part-time Minister, Chris Bowen, will be taking his writing instructions from Anthony Albanese and not from the United Nations, because if we don't step on the gas, then our whole energy system is going to be incredibly vulnerable, not only to price rises, but also to the grid itself becoming more and more unreliable. So, you know, I hope the Prime Minister, when Chris Bowen gets back, will pull him aside and say, enough taking your writing instructions from the UN, you need to start doing what's in Australia's national interest, and stepping on the gas has to be a key part of that.
What you seem to be saying, Dan, is a little bit different from what the Nationals are saying. They're talking about extending the life of coal until perhaps nuclear comes online. You're saying that gas can fill that void. Is that what you're saying, that perhaps those extensions aren't required for places like Yallourn, Eraring, etc.?
No, we've made very clear in our policy approach that in the short term, we have to have very much an energy agnostic approach, and we're already seeing that happening at a state government level, both by Labor state governments when it comes to coal in Victoria and New South Wales, and of course the Queensland LNP, where they're looking to make sure they extend their coal-fired generation well into the 2040s. And of course then you've got the South Australian Labor government, which is investing into gas. So we've got to bring in the short term an energy abundance approach, and then what we want to do in the medium to long term is build the capacity of the market. So we need to make sure that when you are looking at the things that bring capacity into your energy market, that reliability into your energy market, that we've got a real focus on that, and we'll have more to say on that over the coming months.
Okay, Dan Tehan, really good to talk to you. Appreciate it.